So good afternoon. Well, that was weak. I know I'm the last one, but I need more than that from you guys. Come on, good afternoon. Good afternoon. That's what I'm talking about. The last speaking slot. Dr. Ferris, you always set me up for either great achievement or epic failure. You guys are going to be the judge of which one this ends up being by the time I get done talking today. When the Killeen Herald contacted me and said, we're doing a Women in Business conference, we'd like you to speak. I asked the question that every speaker always asks. What do you want me to talk about? And they said, we don't care, just tell us your story. And I thought to myself, who in the world would want to hear my story? That's not what's important. What's important are women. Women are essential to any good operating society. If you don't believe me, ask my 3 sons. They'll tell you right now. They will ask their father for permission, but they know nothing's written in stone until mom comes home. That's because I have the all-overruling ability to say no to anything he says yes to, and that's purely for their safety. I trust you. And if you're a mom, show of hands, you know that's true. How many of you have the override? Absolutely. Well, I'm the same way. One of the things that I asked them is I said, when you want me to talk to women, what do you want me to talk to them about? They said, what does every woman need to know? And I thought to myself, if I could go back and I could read through all the files of all the coaching clients that I've worked with over the course of the last 3 years since I left the military, if I dig a little further, and I dig back to all the hundreds of thousands of soldiers that I sat with and counseled with while on active duty, and I were to pinpoint just the needs of those women, what would they want me to tell you? What stories could I tell you today that you would remember, that would leave you with something that you need to know, and would change your outlook and how you go forward? I thought, well, that's a tough calling. Thanks for that, Killeen Herald. But then as I began to think back, and they said, tell your story. Well, I like to tell stories. I'm from a big family. My mom is from a family of 12. Count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. She's in the middle. She used to be sandwich. She used to grab food off the table, hold it in one hand, and then wait to eat that last, just so that she'd have seconds. That's how big my mom's family is. My dad is from a family of 9. That's a lot of first cousins, and I can tell you the accurate count to date, even with births and deaths, I have 72 first cousins. Oh yeah, try that family reunion on for size. But with all of my first cousins, I'm the baby of both families. And so I got to learn a lot from both of my grandmothers, who were both storytellers, and they were able to share all of my cousins' experiences, all of the do's and do-nots with me. And I still make mistakes of my own. But today I'm going to tell you 3 things, and then I'm going to end with a capstone, so really it's like 3 plus, that I think every woman struggles with. And I'll tell you why. The first one, and you can write it down, and you've heard it today, and even though you did an amazing job with your speech, and I don't like following people that are amazing, because it's tough to do, she said something that you should remember. She said, I didn't used to be confident. Women struggle with confidence more than men ever thought to. In fact, studies, big universities, the think tanks of the world, have recently told us that 6 out of 10, 60%, that's a lot, it's more than half, so divide yourselves in the room, all of you on this side of the room, per capita, at what point in your life have given up on a dream because you were dissatisfied with what? Not your competence, not how smart you are, not whether or not you could do it, but dissatisfied with your physical appearance. What if the greatest minds in the world, what if Thomas Edison, and you know he wasn't a looker, check out that hair, ladies, that guy needs a comb. What if Thomas Edison had looked in the mirror and said, you know what, I'm not good looking enough to make a light bulb? It'd be a dark conference today, wouldn't it? You don't see men do that. You don't see men that get up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, this suit's a little tight, a little bold, a little blanched. I could use some foundation today to be confident. Men don't buy $500 worth of product that sits in a bag in their bathroom to make them feel good about themselves. They might go get a massage, they might go get a manicure if you're well trained like my husband is now. 9 years into marriage, it's going to work. Trust me, it's going to progress. But the fact is, women are different. We're wired differently. We develop our confidence differently. And I'll tell you right now, women begin to develop their confidence from the time they're this tall. How many of you are mothers? How many of you are mothers of little girls? I don't have that privilege. I have 3 young boys who think they're the best things happening. That's that male confidence, that male ego going into play. And I reinforce it on a daily basis. But for those of you that have little girls, let me tell you a story. There was a 12-year-old little girl who went to middle school. Average middle-income family, average Midwestern city, average run-of-the-mill school, average upbringing. Went to school, was an athlete, did gymnastics, was in dance. It wasn't all that graceful. It was more of something that her parents put her into to overcome the lack of balance, to overcome awkwardness, to give her a little grace. Now, how many of you have been to etiquette school? Anybody in here forced to endure that? Ah, good for your mothers. No hands are up, that's excellent. But this young lady went to middle school, and on repeated occasions would come home crying to her mother. She would come home, tears running down her face, and say something like, "Mom, I got stuffed in a locker today, and it was a boys' locker, and it was after gym. And I got locked in there until after 5th period, and then I got let out, and then everybody laughed at me, and then they told me I could call you and you could come get me." How do you think that mom felt? How do you think she felt? Bad. What do you do when your daughters come home crying? Come on, ladies, you do something. Nobody just listens and takes it. What do moms do? Go back and do something about it. Right. So this 12-year-old goes back to middle school, and the next day goes to do something about it and gets stuffed in another locker. A couple of weeks later, she gets stuffed in a trash can. That 12-year-old girl came home every day of middle school, crying and wishing that she could be anywhere but there. And that mother didn't know how to tell her daughter that the one thing that she needed, the one thing that would have made all the difference in the world, was confidence. Confidence to stand up for herself, confidence to tell somebody that it wasn't right, confidence at the end of the day, once she stood up for herself, to stand up for others. It would have made all the difference in the world, but it wasn't there. So if you do nothing else today, and you leave here, we have a saying in the Army, and it's called, "Fake it till you make it." So that means when you stand up in front of the mirror, how many of you would like to be 17 years old again? You seriously would want to be 17 years old again? I don't know about you, but I wish I could know what I know now and have my 17-year-old body back. That's what I want. I don't know that I want to repeat 17 to 21, or 21 to where I am now. But I do know that if I could take what I know now, I would go back to that 12-year-old little girl, and I would tell her, 1, all of this is temporary. This place is temporary. And I mean that in both the physical and the spiritual sense. These people are temporary. Their opinions are temporary. Your circumstances are temporary. But there's one thing that's constant, and that's your confidence in yourself. It doesn't come from anyone else. It comes from you. If I could do that, I would, but I can't. The second thing that women need to have is charisma. There can be 2 equally talented women going for a job, applying to a college, looking for that next big break, looking for that business loan because you're setting out as an entrepreneur. Equally matched in every way, on paper and everything else. But if you're interviewed, 9 times out of 10, guess who gets the bid? The woman with charisma. The woman who stands up, has that confidence, and that little something extra. That little something, that differentiator that makes you just a shade taller, or a shade larger than life, or a shade more confident in your competition. True story, there was a 17-year-old young woman in Southern California that was from a very, very middle-income family. And her parents told her, guess what? We can't pay for you to go to college. You better start thinking about your options. And while she'd learned to be confident through various activities in school, she realized that she was going to have to make it on her own. So she decided she'd go talk with her counselor. And the high school counselor told her, great, put in an application to junior college. It's less expensive, it's local, you'll maintain the cost of living more effectively. And she thought, filling out applications to some of the best universities in the country. Words and price tags that made her parents cringe and made the bank guy laugh in her face, who said, "Who are you to think you're going to get $38,000 a year to go to college? What makes you think that you're smart enough or bright enough or different enough?" And so she sent in her college applications. And this young woman was fourth top of her class, top 10%, graduated with over a 4.0 GPA, but there were lots of people in that class that graduated with above a 4.0 GPA. So she wasn't terribly special. But the difference was she had confidence. When she sent in her college applications, the next step, as you well know, is the what? The dreaded phone call. You get the phone call, you got the college on the other end, and the guy asked her, "What's different about you?" And she said, "Something very different, something he hadn't heard before." He said, "Probably nothing, but what's different about your school?" "Yeah, try that one on for size." And the guy said, "Well, our college campus does this, 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 and this." And she switched the tables on it. He sold her on that college campus. And at the end of the phone conversation, after she decided that's pretty much where she wanted to go, the guy realized that he hadn't asked her a single other question. Pretty good for a 30-minute phone call, right? She should go into sales. And at the end of that, he asked her one more question. He said, "Why do you want to go to this school?" And she said, "Because people told me I couldn't. Because people told me that you wouldn't let me in. And because people tell me constantly that I won't be successful if you do. And I'm here right now to prove them all wrong." What do you bet? You think they let her in? Think so? Really? No? You don't think you did? Well, they did. Same young lady goes off to college, decides that she's from that middle-income family, $38,000 a year college loans expensive. She's not quite sure she can swing that for 4 years. She's already decided that she's going to follow in her family's footsteps. She's going to join the military. And when you hear these people's stories, you realize that they sometimes pattern your own lives. And so she realized, okay, I've got the confidence piece, I've got the charisma piece, because obviously they saw something, some little spark, some little fire, which is why they let her in, even though she's not necessarily special above compared to anybody else. But she lacked one more thing. The thing that had to be developed in that young woman was the ability to communicate. She had to be able to find her voice. And how many of you remember the ages of 18 to 25-ish was the time where you kind of developed your point of view? How many of you found your voice in that period of your life? How many of you still are kind of looking for your voice? Anybody? When you think about what it takes to be an effective communicator, I can tell you business women today, women that make far greater paychecks than I do on an everyday basis, women that drive around in Maseratis, women that own golf courses, women that live the country club life, women that getting, a facelift is just part of their day job, because looking good is feeling good, and they make enough money to feel good every day. How many of you wouldn't mind being that lady? I'd like to feel good every day. Like I said, my 17-year-old body, I've got 3 sons, trust me. But learning to communicate well is what most women fail to do. Even confident women. Even women with charisma. Women are afraid to step out from behind a podium and say, "This is me." And that same young woman, when she joined the Army, she was sitting in a room with a group of soldiers. And as the day went on, everyone left except for one person. And that one young lady sitting in the room said, "I'm really glad you're still here because I want to talk to you. Do you think you could just listen?" Nervously, this young woman, in her early 20s, says, "Yes, I can do that." And she says, "My world is falling apart around me. I joined the military. I thought it was the right choice for me and my family. I did it confidently. I lead my soldiers with charisma, with passion. I believe in what we do and in what they do. But my husband is cheating on me. My children are troubled. My world is not the way it should be. And today, I figured out the solution. The solution is that I don't need to be here anymore. I'm the problem." And that 22-year-old individual sat across from that young woman and thought, this is a climax. This is a moment that if I say the wrong thing, or if I say nothing, I don't just risk losing my voice. I risk losing a friend. I risk making a difference. And I risk giving that person an opportunity for a future. So those are three things, three stories, three women that will tell you why it's important to be confident, why it's important to have charisma, why it's important to be able to communicate. But what I haven't told you is that all three of those women are me. Can you do this, right? Very rarely do I get the opportunity to speak to a group of all women. Very rarely do I get the opportunity to tell women, it doesn't matter that you're from a low-income family. It doesn't matter that you're the first person in your family to go to college. And it certainly doesn't matter that you're the first person in your family to find your voice. The important thing for each and every one of you is to know that it's important that you find it. If you don't, you'll be like I was at 22 years old, sitting in an office with another human being, pitched in the perfect light to make a huge difference in someone else's life. And if you're too afraid to use what God gave you, if you're too afraid to share your personal experience to be a human being, and too afraid to assert yourself and tell them that there is a better way, or that there is hope, or that there is a chance for things to change, because like I would have told my 12-year-old self when I came home crying from school, this is all temporary. I was blessed. I had two strong grandmothers. I had a strong mother, far stronger than I ever was as a child. And what I learned is that as I got into the Army and I found my voice, and I only found it because other people gave me the opportunity to be compelled to use it, that I realized that women everywhere struggle with the same three things. The inability to look in the mirror and see something worth looking at. The ability to talk to others in a way and sell your own value in such a way that people will be moved by what you have to say, by what you've done, by where you've been, and most importantly, ladies, by where you're going. If, at the end of the day, you go home from here, and you've heard these phenomenal women speak, and there's something about their story that rings true with you, and you ask yourself, what's the growth point? Dr. Ferris is phenomenal about asking you to reflect. Because all of the good intentions in the world, all of the great schooling, all of the great education, all of those things do nothing if you go home today and do nothing. If you go home today and take action, there are three things that I promise you will happen. It's a cycle with women. If you fake it till you make it, if you look in the mirror and you say, regardless of what my physical body looks like, I guarantee you God looks at you far differently than you do. I guarantee you that other women look at you far differently than you do, that men look at you differently, that society looks at you differently. Isn't it about time you looked at yourself through forgiving eyes? That you accepted what's in that mirror, what's in that reflection, and you realize that your value is not in a physical appearance. Now, I'd really like to have my 17-year-old legs and my 17-year-old high neck. I promise you, I would. They looked much better in a skirt. But it doesn't change the fact that my power and my confidence and who I am has nothing to do with what I look like. It has everything to do with who I am, what I believe, and what I do on a day-to-day basis. Power comes from within. That's where confidence begins. If you want to be confident, decide to be. Go out and try on for size. I tell my clients every day, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're small business owners, whether they're female executives that just need a little bit of encouragement, or if they're male executives that need a little bit of encouragement. We're not gender biased, we help them all. You too, Andre. He was smart, he came to a women's conference, he knew he'd hear something good. What I tell them is if you really want to get to where you're really confident, start by having confidence in who you are and where you've been. Realize that your past is the past, and your future is what you decide to make it. Have confidence in that, and go forward in a way that means that you're going to get there. Find charisma, find what makes you different, and stop hiding behind the lectern. Stop being the person that when somebody asks you your opinion, you're afraid to come to the table. You feel this big. Feel proud, feel confident, step out, grab the mic, and tell people why you're you, what you can do for them, and why you're the best one for the job. You want to get promoted? Ladies, that's the way you do it. Step up to the table. When there's 3 seats left and there's 3 men and 1 woman in the room, take that chair. They'll take it every day. You ask, in fact, if you go to any college campus, if you walk down the street at Texas A&M, Central Texas, and you walk to a college class, I guarantee you'll find 2 things. You'll find 2 students, 1 man, 1 woman, that studied equally hard. You'll find a couple of other students. You'll find a guy that doesn't study so hard. He reads 2 out of the 10 books on the syllabus. You'll find a woman that reads all 10, plus some extra literature. They take the same final exam. The man will walk out of that, and if there were a reporter right there, they would ask him, how did you do? You know what he's going to say? You read 2 books. I did awesome. I killed that test. You know what the woman's going to say? Well, I did okay, I think. I could have probably done a little stronger on the essay. I'm not quite confident, I could have definitely done better. They both get A-minuses. Who gets a job on job interview day? Is it the guy that read 2 out of the 10 books who has confidence and charisma, or is it the woman that probably knows 10 times what he knows, but lacks confidence and charisma? When you lack those things, it doesn't matter how much you know if you can't communicate it to others. So people ask me all the time, you speak to large groups, you talk to women, you talk to men, you talk to businesses. How do you do it? Why do you belong to Toastmasters? Well, let me tell you why. Because confidence and the ability to get up and talk to other people and communicate well, it's just like those muscles that I wish I still had. If I went to the gym and I worked out 5 hours a day, I'd have 5 hours a day worth of muscles. Public speaking and confidence and the ability to communicate well is something you practice every day. That's why I go to Toastmasters every week. People say, well, you don't have any trouble speaking in front of people. That's not the point. The point is, with passion comes practice. With practice comes perfection, and with perfection comes success. If you want to be successful, stop doing what you think you need to be doing and start doing what works. Do it on purpose and do it often. Because at the end of when all is said and done, at the end of the day, are we going to do it confidently? Will we be charismatic? Will people want to be on our team? And can we communicate with them effectively and get them to join us? Because the last thing women have to do to be successful is collaborate with one another. We fail to work together more than men ever thought to. We have this word, this thing, this competition. I want you to forget that word exists. And I want you to replace it. Tear it out of the dictionary, mentally scrub it. You know that piece of paper that Dr. Ann had you fill out? I want you to write or competition on that piece of paper and throw it away on the way out the door. When you pick up your burdens, throw that one away. And I want you to remember the word co-opetition. If every woman in this room worked together, you would all stop working against your own success. Find a woman who's going to lift you up. Find a woman who's going to give you the ability to be the best version of you and never let her get out of your sight. I can tell you, the ladies from Darlene's Dream Team know how to lift one another up. You heard it this morning, right? When she got up here, she was nervous. But the moment they smiled and clapped, she was confident. We do that for one another. And if we don't, no one will do it for us. So I'll leave you with one thought. If you can remember that confidence comes from within, you'll realize that confidence will contribute to charisma. You'll be confident enough to be passionate about it and to show that to others. When you have charisma, that's going to carry a weight in the way that you communicate. People will want to listen to you. There is a big difference. Nobody has to. You want people to want to hear your voice, to want to hear what you have to say. And at the end of the day, you want them to listen and you want them to be on your team so that you can collaborate. But all of that comes through being the best version of you. That is a confident, charismatic, well-communicating, beautiful woman. No one can do it the way that you do, I promise you that. Dr. Ferris, that's all I got now.